You know, I've lost faith in the gaming industry a long time ago, and yet I still find myself really sad when I see bad news back to back to back to back. And at this point, I'm not even hopeful that things will turn around anymore. I'm just crossing my fingers and praying that the bubble pops as soon as possible and the entire industry collapses under its own weight. It is, in my mind, the absolute only way to fix the current state of the industry, to burn it all to the ground and begin from zero. Unfortunately, I have faced the fact that this won't come for the next 10 years or so. It takes a lot of time, patience, and a lot of bad decisions to crash a market, any market. That said, these are bad decisions that Sony and Xbox are more than happy to make. The corporates at the top of the food chain are giddy with the idea of crashing the market and throwing themselves off a window 2008 style. So what's this little rant about? This is because Sony has just announced that from January 2028 they will no longer offer the ability for companies to make physical discs for their games for their platform. Just to make it clear, it's not that PlayStation exclusive games will not have physical discs anymore. All games coming to the PS console will no longer have the approval and key from Sony to be produced. And rumors say that Xbox is following suit, with their newest console, the Project Helix or something, also not having a disc port at all. What's really funny to me is how that comes glued into the news that Sony will also be shutting down their digital store on the PS3 and PS Vita. So not only will they no longer allow the production of discs, they will also shut down digital stores. At that point, why even make games at all? Why bother? I particularly don't understand the idea of shutting down online stores on the older gen of consoles. Sure, it's old and outdated, but what's really the harm in leaving it as it is? You're not saving that much money on server rental, that's for sure, so it's just really weird to me. I will simply imagine that it's the same logic as to why Steam no longer offers the app on Windows 7 and move on. The industry has been, for a very long time, going this way of you will own nothing. I won't even complete the other half because I don't believe a lot of people are happy with how things are going. I guess if you're absolute cattle who drools over every new FIFA that comes out, you'll be happy with this. But it doesn't take much to make you happy anyways, does it, bud? Another thing is that this move is obviously due to GTA 6 coming out without a physical disc, something Rockstar got a lot of hate for. Yet in their article, Sony says it's actually us, the players, who don't want to buy physical copies, and the market is actually changing. Sure buddy, let me guess. Did the shareholders tell you that? It's just really infuriating. Corporate greed is a disease, and this disease will only go away once it kills its host. Let me outline some points why this change is so terrible in the first place, something that I actually did not see Charlie do as well as I thought he would. By getting a code rather than a disc, you will no longer be able to resell your game once it's been played or if you didn't like it. Obviously, Sony loves this. It means more people will be forced to buy directly from them and not from the secondary market. In fact, there will be no more secondary market. This is blatantly also why Rockstar has pulled this move of not offering discs. They already aren't releasing on PC so that you're forced to double dip and buy the game twice in the future. And with codes, it means you can't borrow it for a friend or resell it. I have to remind you, the PS Store is not Steam. Once the game has been downloaded, there is no refund, and the refund process is much more contrived and difficult. This means you bought a game, you didn't like it, doesn't matter. Your money is dust now. Nothing you can do about it. RIP Bozo, rest in peace. And last but not least terrible at all, it's much less safe, reliable, and if there are any issues regarding licensing, they will just rip the game right off your account. No apologies, no refunds, just like they did with over 500 movies that customers had bought for the PS Store. It's just so you understand, this isn't speculation, it has already happened, and it will happen again. People who bought those movies had their products stolen from them, clear as day. And it's much less safe and reliable because if you hack my account on PSN, for example, I still own my games, they are on the CD. If the PS support, which is god awful by the way, can't help me in any way, no problem, I'll make a new account, mitigate the damages, cut my losses, but I can still play my games by putting the disc into the machine. But without that, those games are truly gone. There is nothing I can do about it, I have to start from zero. How this isn't grounds for a federal lawsuit is incredible to me. But it's not surprising at all, and it's what brings me to my main point. The USA cannot be allowed to hold the reins of this industry. They have no consumer protection laws. It's a lawless country for corporations. They can do whatever they want, whenever they want, with little to no repercussion. The only protection consumers in America have is their voices. It's laughable. And I mean this for every corporation, not just for games. The pharmaceutical corporation in America is especially corrupt. They often profiteer off the sick and the poor by raising prices as much as they can, hurting health insurance companies to the point where they will just deny your applications and your requests for insurance. Silicon Valley, AI, they are telling schools to cut down on using electricity so that data centers won't be as affected because they care more about the corporate giants scamming you with their Gen AI, literally stealing your jobs so they can produce cheaper products with less quality than they care about educations in schools. And I'm especially interested in finding out how that will turn out, because you see, AI doesn't produce jobs. Data centers do not produce jobs. They actually, even though it's massive, they actually only need like 100 people to maintain the servers. America may end up finding out what happens when a large portion of the population who are skilled and really intelligent ends up jobless. I'm just gonna say, you're not gonna find it very amusing, but that's beyond the point. It can't really hold itself much longer. This is a simple fact anyone can see except the zombies at the top, who only care about buying their next mansion in Malta. The thing with modern corpos is, they don't have real CEOs anymore. I have said this many times before, they are no longer run by people with experience and wisdom who built their wealth. They are run by nepo babies who got recommended a position and all they have to do is whatever shareholders tell them to do. And can I just say, the idea of shareholders, the idea of these crazy investors telling you what to do, because in America there was a lawsuit many years ago against I think Ford in fact, where they dictated that shareholders are more important than customers. It pisses me off to an extent that I can't really describe with words. I get violently angry about this fact. A very recent example is what's happening with Kadokawa. Kadokawa is the parent company of FromSoft, and they were recently not acquired, but invested in by activist investors from Hong Kong called Oasis. And what Oasis does is they buy shares of a company and then they want to rule the company like it's theirs. And they really want to force Kadokawa to, 1, change the leadership of From Software because they don't like Miyazaki, and they want From Software to start peddling mobile slop. We may live in a timeline where we see Elden Ring, the mobile game, with gacha mechanics. We are in that course. To say that it terrifies me is an understatement. I am less scared of death than I am of this. So a lot of you may end up looking at these decisions and thinking, no, they run a multi-billion-dollar company, they're not this stupid, right? When you see these incredibly delusional and out-of-touch decisions. No, you're not mistaken. They really are this stupid. Because they're literally nepo babies who got there with no experience at all. And now, with the ego of being at the top of the food chain, they do whatever they want without actually knowing what they're doing. Sorry, I don't want to overextend this video. I just want to rant about the state of things and share my thoughts with you. What I will say is, the best way forward is getting a PC and helping fund indie developers who actually love what they do and buy games through Steam. You may still not be able to resell them, but they have a great service, great deals, and offer a solid refund policy. And one more thing, yes you should subscribe. You see, at 500 subs, I'll open a Discord server for us. We can become a small community where we can talk crap about each other like it's 2016. And if you're some oil baron with extra cash to throw down a well, I have a coffee where you can support me. Any supporters I will publicly name and thank at the end of the next video. It's the most I can do at the moment. Anyways, see ya.